Shut up. Freak accident.
Whose message?
I don't know how I got into this. She was a freak.
You don't find that suspicious?
Will Smith, a name many of you likely grew up watching, whether it was through one of his box office smash hits or his reign on television. He dominated our screens for over a decade, consistently starring in films that spanned comedy, emotional dramas, and futuristic dystopian sci-fi. Will knew exactly how to channel the right energy to deliver phenomenal performances, time and time again. And not only was he crushing it in his career, he also maintained a seemingly solid public image. He's got 3 successful children, following his lead into the entertainment world, primarily 2 of them, from music to acting, and for a long time he appeared to have a picture-perfect relationship with his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. But as many of you know, especially if you're tuned into this channel, nothing in the entertainment business is ever what it seems. This industry thrives on illusion, selling us the dream of wealth, status, and abundance, only to hide the fine print. The strings that often reveal themselves when it's already too late. In today's video, we'll take a closer look at Will Smith's career through a conspiratorial lens, and we'll be applying English gematria, an alphanumeric code that can reveal a hidden layer of the story that's been in plain sight all along. I go by Script, and today we'll explore whether or not Will Smith took the infamous Faustian Bargain, and if he did, what exactly did he have to give up in order to become the star he is today. Oh, and for those who are new here, let me be clear, there's no question that Will Smith has talent. His skill played a crucial role in his success. This video isn't here to take away from that, but talent, that's only one piece of the puzzle in this business. The world is full of talented people, but most don't make it. Not because they lack the skill, but because they lack the right connections, or they aren't willing to go as far as some do to make their so-called dream a reality. Well, it all started in West Philadelphia, where he was born and raised, and it was on the playground where he spent most of his days.
I'm just playing.
Look, Willard Carroll Smith II, that's the name on his birth certificate, was born on September 25th, 1968 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. His mom, Caroline Bright, worked as a school board administrator, making sure her kids got a solid education. His dad, Willard Carroll Smith Sr., was a refrigeration engineer and a U.S. Air Force veteran, keeping his supermarkets cool and the family grounded. They raised Will and his 3 siblings, older sister Pamela and younger twins Harry and Ellen, in the Winfield neighborhood, a middle-class area where cultures mixed, from Orthodox Jews to a big Muslim community. The Smiths were Baptist, but Will got a taste of diversity early on. Will's childhood wasn't all sunshine. His parents split up when he was 13. Though they didn't divorce until around 2000. Despite the tension, Will's dad was a steady force. In his memoir titled Will, he wrote, quote, "Dad was tough but not tyrannical. He kept me in line. That discipline shaped him, but so did his mom's push for education. She enrolled him at Our Lady of Lourdes, a private Catholic elementary school in Philly known for its strict vibe. Later, he attended Overbrook High School, a public school with a rep for producing legends like NBA star Wilt Chamberlain. Will was a bright kid, charming his way out of trouble, earning the nickname Prince Charming, which he later flipped into the Fresh Prince. Now, school was cool and all, but Will's hustle was real. Before fame, he worked odd jobs, helping his pop's refrigeration business, hauling heavy equipment, and learning the value of a grind. He also dabbled in music, rapping at age 12 and meeting Jeffrey Towns, aka DJ Jazzy Jeff, at a party. By 16, they formed DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, dropping their first single, Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble, in 1986. It blew up, hitting the charts before Will even graduated from high school. They snagged the first ever Grammy for Best Rap Performance in '89 for the single Parents Just Don't Understand, making Will a millionaire before 20. But acting, that wasn't the plan yet. Will's charisma screamed screen presence. In 1990, NBC came knocking, wanting a sitcom built around him. He was skeptical but jumped in, starring as a fictionalized version of himself in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It was a gamble, no acting experience, just raw charm. The show, running from 1990 to 96, became a cultural juggernaut, launching Will into Hollywood. His first film role came in 92 with the film Where the Day Takes You, followed by a breakout in 6 Degrees of Separation in 93, proving he could handle drama. Now picture this, the 90s, a time of baggy jeans, Walkmans, and Will Smith owning every screen. By 95, Will was unstoppable, teaming up with Martin Lawrence in Bad Boys as a slick detective duo. The film exploded, pulling in $15.9 million in its opening weekend. That charisma wasn't new. It was the same spark that made The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air a cultural staple. But in 96, after 6 seasons, the show wrapped up with a finale so emotional it still hits hard till today. I mean, be for real, who hasn't rewatched those episodes, laughing through the nostalgia, and potentially even tearing up at that last scene? I mean, it's timeless. Will didn't slow down. That same year, he led Independence Day, saving the world from aliens and cementing his blockbuster status. Then came Men in Black in 97, Enemy of the State in 96, and Wild Wild West in 99. Alright, Wild Wild West wasn't exactly a home run. Critics dragged it, and it grossed $113 million domestically against a $170 million budget. Still, Will's star power, undeniable. You can't talk 90s pop culture without his name. He was that era. Soundtracks bumping, posters everywhere. Rolling into the 2000s, Will kept climbing. Bad Boys 2 and 03 brought back that Miami heat, grossing $138 million stateside. In 04, he battled Rogue Robots and iRobot and lent his voice to Shark Tale, proving he could voice act just as good too. But 2005's Hitch, another success. The rom-com raked in $179 million domestically, with Will as the suave date doctor stealing hearts. Then came 2006's The Pursuit of Happiness, where he and his son Jaden delivered a heartfelt performance. Will was once again praised for his versatility and growth. Playing the role of a struggling dad fighting for his kid made you root for him. Even his best critics couldn't deny it. It showed a man who wasn't just a star, but someone you believed in on and off screen. In 2007, I Am Legend dropped, with Will carrying a post-apocalyptic thriller solo, grossing $256 million domestically. Then in 2008 brought Hancock, a flawed superhero hit, and 7 Pounds, a drama that proved he can break your heart. From a Grammy-winning rapper in '89 to ruling TV in the early '90s, then dominating cinema for over a decade, Will built an empire. His film spoke to everyone: action fans, rom-com lovers, families. He was the guy who could do it all, making it look easy. But Hollywood's a tricky beast. From Philly streets to global fame, Will's journey seemed golden. His hustle was relentless. Yet, as we know, the spotlight doesn't always shine kind. Fame's fruit can taste sweet, but it can rot fast, and when it does, the world watches. Will's story, like any legends, wasn't immune to that bitter bite. Despite Will Smith being a millionaire in his 20s, he quickly realized just how fast all that money could run out. From gambling in casinos, traveling with a huge entourage, and buying everything that caught his eye, he found himself broke. In fact, for the first 3 seasons of his hit series Fresh Prince, Will made a cool $2.8 million, but he hardly saw a dime of it because he owed money in back taxes from his rap career. He revealed on Inside the Actors Studios in 2002 that for the first 2 seasons, the IRS took 70% of his earnings and that he only got back to zero in the show's 3rd season. He admitted he only made the series reluctantly in an effort to pay off the feds and get back on his feet, and it ended up launching him into superstardom. At this point, not only was Will eager to expand his acting career, but he also needed the money quite bad, and this situation right there is what Hollywood thrives off. Hollywood feeds on the vulnerable. Most entertainers, if they're not a nepo baby, are usually starving artists with talent and in a desperate need of a chance or funding for their career. Now, depending on how bad one wants to make it, they might just find themselves in a compromising situation, one that leads them to do something against their moral code. Some call this the act of selling your soul, making a deal with the devil, or the Faustian Bargain. This is a pact whereby a person trades something of supreme moral or spiritual importance, such as personal values or the soul, for some worldly or material benefit, such as knowledge, power, or riches. A Faustian bargain is made with a power that the bargainer recognizes as evil or immoral. Faustian bargains are by their nature tragic or self-defeating for the person who makes them, because what is surrendered is ultimately far more valuable than what is obtained, whether or not the bargainer appreciates that fact. Now in the case of Will Smith, he got his first film role making less than $100,000 on Where the Day Takes You, but it was his second role where Will found himself faced with the decision to take the bargain or not, and in my opinion, he did just that. Director of the 1993 film 6 Degrees of Separation, Fred Giuseppe, recalls interviewing a lot of actors, but Will tried to convince him that he'd do whatever it would take, would go through whatever process, and was sure he can get himself prepared. That confidence and charm was everything the character should be. And he was just worth taking a chance on. By 1993, Will starred as Paul Poitier in the film 6 Degrees of Separation, where he takes on the role of a charismatic and intelligent young con artist who poses as the son of Sidney Poitier to infiltrate the lives of wealthy New Yorkers. Gifted with elegance and cultural knowledge, Paul uses charm and deception to mask deep loneliness and a longing to belong. As a gay man, his identity adds complexity to his manipulations and personal struggles, particularly in moments of vulnerability. Though a liar, Paul isn't a villain. He's a tragic figure whose presence forces those around him to confront their own privilege, emptiness, and assumptions about identity and connection. During the filming of this movie, Will, despite willing to do anything to get the role, was reluctant to partake in a kissing scene with another male character playing the role of Trent, a male sex worker. Quote, "I was thinking how my friends in Philly are going to think about this. I wasn't emotionally stable enough to artistically commit to that aspect of the film. In a movie with actors and a director and writer of this caliber, for me to be the one bringing something cheesy to it, quote, this was a valuable lesson for me." He says moments later, "Either you do it or you don't." Will later admits that at the time he consulted with Denzel Washington, who told him, quote, "Don't be kissing no man," and that inspired him to turn down that scene. But unfortunately, Will didn't follow that advice.
Oh, hell no!
Why are you gay?
I am not gay. I have relationships with women and sex with men.
That means you're gay. I know that's right.
Now I wish it stopped there, but earlier in the film, around the 39-minute mark, he's caught having sex with a dude. Now it'd be one thing if Will was already openly gay from the jump and took on this role, but granted he himself had major hesitancy about the decision to be seen kissing another man on the big screen. There for all of eternity, he still decided to break his moral code, taking on the role of a gay man, primarily for money and truly for more opportunity in the industry. Because once they can prove that the talent will do whatever they can to obtain the status they so badly desire is when they'll be given more opportunities, and this proved to be true for Will as we discussed in the earlier portion of this video. Notice the film released 12 weeks and 4 days from his 25th birthday, this being the film that helped truly open up the doors to the film industry. You can see that the title of the film and his full name both hold the value of 124 in the reverse reduction cipher. He played the character of Paul Poitier and was a homosexual. Notice his character's name syncs with the word homosexuality, the exact thing he was hesitant to promote initially when he was offered the role, but ultimately succumbed to it. Oh, what the Faustian bargain will do to some people. This one I've shared in the past, but is certainly relevant here. Notice words like actor, gay, and Hollywood all equate to 33 in 2 out of the 4 base ciphers. I mentioned this in my Tupac video, which you should definitely check out after this, but I talked about how the world of theater has always been zesty from the jump. I'm talking the Shakespearean days with males performing female roles, and honestly, the apple hasn't fallen far from the tree in modern times. It's a dominance thing and a humiliation ritual. A person with morals who values their self-respect and dignity over a check would downright refuse to do something that they felt was against their values.
Hey, boy, ain't no fucking way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
But those that succumb to the dollar signs just show that they're weak in the face of these greedy, twisted vultures. Now I gotta hit y'all with a massive pause before I say what I'm about to say, but in that film, Will's the one being penetrated. It don't really matter which way, it's sus regardless, but there's a deeper implication in that he's the weak one, and you're basically giving up your manhood.
I am gay.
Obviously, they're not really doing it on set, that's not the point, it's about the message it sends off. Will certainly isn't the only one to take this path, and he definitely won't be the last. When it comes to an actor's role in Hollywood, the entertainment machine uses their films and TV as propaganda tools and a way to forecast their ambitions and plans for the world. Many, including myself, refer to this as predictive programming. The notion that they're showing us what they want to happen in reality through film first, almost like a warning, while planting the thought into the public's collective consciousness. Well, as most of you know, we're in a world where it feels like all of those strange sci-fi films are starting to become a reality. From rapid advancements in the space of artificial intelligence, advanced robots, and increased automation, people are relying on tech more than ever, and hey, I'm guilty of this too. But it's getting to a point where most of us are questioning what our role as humans will be in the coming years if AI is planning on taking over millions of jobs. Are we all just going to be sitting around collecting our universal basic income, consuming AI-generated slop? Or will as much of the population even be around before we get to that point? I mean, none of us really know. Alright, so where does Will Smith tie into all of this? In 2004, Will starred in the film I, Robot as Detective Del Spooner, a homicide detective with the Chicago Police Department in the year 2035. Haunted by a traumatic incident where a robot saved him over a young girl based solely on survival odds, Spooner harbors deep distrust towards artificial intelligence, unlike the rest of society, which relies heavily on robots. In this future, all robots are programmed to follow the 3 laws of robotics. 1. A robot may not harm a human or through inaction allow a human to come to harm. Number 2, a robot must obey human orders unless it conflicts with the first law. And number 3, a robot must protect its own existence unless it conflicts with the first or second law. When Spooner investigates the suspicious suicide of robotics pioneer Dr. Alfred Lanning, he uncovers a conspiracy involving a new generation of robots and a supercomputer that has begun interpreting these laws in a dangerous way, justifying control over humanity, quote, for its own good. At the center of this is Sunny, a secret prototype robot built with the ability to feel emotion, dream, and disobey the laws, essentially a sentient being. As the case unfolds, Spooner is forced to confront his biases and ultimately fight to protect human freedom from an emerging AI that believes enslaving humanity is the logical path to peace. Now, doesn't this sound a lot like what some of the leading innovators in artificial intelligence have been saying? Take for example the godfather of AI, Geoffrey Hinton, who previously held the position of Vice President and Engineering Fellow at Google before he decided to step down. Upon his exit, he expressed great concerns over the flood of misinformation, the possibility for AI to upend the job market, and the existential risk posed by the creation of true digital intelligence. He only quit so he could speak freely about the dangers of AI. He fears that their development will far outpace the human mind, leading it to go beyond the control of its creators. Elon Musk once said, quote, AI is more dangerous than, say, mismanaged aircraft design or production maintenance or bad car production. In the sense that it is. It has the potential, however small one may regard that probability, but it is non-trivial. It has the potential of civilization destruction. I mean, the list goes on with these types of quotes and concerns. Now, back to iRobot, it's set in the year 2035, which is only 10 years from where we are now, a film focused on the rise of humanoid robots. Now, technically, we're not at the point where humanoid robots are walking around amongst us.
This shit is crazy. The world is coming to an end.
Boy, ain't no fucking way, boy.
Okay, shit, maybe I was wrong. And that was just posted in May of this year. I mean, it feels like soon we'll get to a point where every big chain cafe or fast food restaurant will be completely autonomous. Take Cali Express. In 2023, this burger chain in California boasted its fully automated kitchen where robotic arms flip the burgers and customers can simply walk in and order by scanning their faces. Boston Dynamics, a company dedicated to engineering and robotics design, has made insane progress on its robots. We're also seeing the rise of self-driving vehicles, so truly we're heading into that world whether we like it or not. Now, Will Smith, who in a fictional film played the role as the savior against the artificial intelligence, when in reality he's been a huge proponent of AI. I mean, who could forget the AI-generated video of Will Smith sloppily eating spaghetti, showing us the early capabilities of this tech, only for it to advance quickly with Google's Vivo 3. From my research, Will had no involvement in the original video of him eating spaghetti, but it's pretty eerie in hindsight that he was used for it. Granted, he played a role in a film helping take down AI.
Come on now, dawg. Come on, man.
There is no conspiracy. There is no conspiracy. There is no conspiracy.
What's even crazier is Will's love for AI has gotten to a point where whenever he posts on Instagram, his fans genuinely can't tell if it's real or AI. To be fair, most of his posts are pretty obvious when he's using AI, but his fans are not a fan of his promotion of it. So what am I getting at here? Ultimately, Will, like many celebrities, is a part of this beast system, and he's playing his role in various ways. Whether it's the promotion of perversion through his acting, or the promotion of the pending technological destruction that seems to be looming over us. Now, before I get into the next segment, check out the gematria behind the film I, Robot. This film was released on July 16, 2004, taking the month and the date. It can be written as 16/7, like the number 167. Notice the film focused on a robot takeover, a phrase that matches the date the film was released. The film heavily focuses on artificial intelligence and its assistance with creating humanoid robots. Notice artificial intelligence equates to 139 and the reverse reduction. 139 is the 34th prime number, aligning with the title I, Robot and the reduction cipher. The film came out on a date with 38 numerology, aligning with the title I, Robot, Technologies, Robotics, and 38 is also a number tied to words like death, murder, killing, all the things those robots did in the film. Artificial intelligence also equals 203 in the basic cipher. Using the rules of numerology, zeros are null, leaving us with the number 23. And of course, the film's all about robots, it's in the title. Notice robot equates to 29 and the date numerology of the film holds 29 numerology. So as per usual, the numbers are riddled throughout the release of the film, as they usually do with most Hollywood movies, shows, or musicians' albums and whatnot. But aside from this, let's talk about what else Will's had to give up in order to maintain his Hollywood status. The Faustian Bargain doesn't end with one deal. Once you're in deep, forced to surrender more each time.
What more do you want from me?
Always something of supreme moral or spiritual weight. For Will Smith, it's painfully clear now that his kids were handed over to the Hollywood machine from the moment they were born. By the time they could talk, their personalities were already splashed across the screens, molded for the industry's agenda. Let's be clear, Will's eldest son, Trey Smith, from his ex-wife, Cherie Sampino, stays mostly out of the spotlight. He seems grounded, content with a quieter life, which is no small feat for the child of a mega celebrity. This suggests that not all the blame falls on Will, because then there's Jada Pinkett Smith, whose outspoken, ultra-liberal views dominate the dynamic. With Will's more submissive nature and Jada's commanding energy, it's no shock their kids, Jaden and Willow, were pulled into the depths of Hollyweird. But let me keep it real, Jaden and Willow are undeniably talented. Jaden, despite some of the corny moments, especially lately, has dropped some solid tracks and built an impressive acting resume for someone so young. Willow's musical talent might even outshine Jaden's. Her work is raw and pretty powerful. But again, this video isn't about talent, it's about character, morals, and the cost of fame. Exhibit A, Jaden's zesty side made waves in 2015 when at 16 he wore a dress, sparking headlines. Sure, he's free to express himself, but don't tell me this isn't a calculated move by Hollyweird's puppet masters to push their so-called gay agenda. They love using their pawns to promote what I see and many others as perversion, and this wouldn't be the last time Jaden sported a dress. Then there's Willow, growing up in a world where her dad openly kisses men on screen,
That's pretty gay.
and her mom airs freaky personal drama on Red Table Talk. With her there, it's no surprise she's caught in the rainbow community's grip, identifying as bisexual. Again, live how you want, but these are stars with massive influence over young, impressionable fans, still figuring themselves out. It's not just their lifestyles, it's the symbolism too. Will, Jaden, Willow, they've all flashed the all-seeing eye at some point. A ritualistic nod you'll spot in countless celebrity photos. And it's not random, it's deliberate, part of the game. Sure, Will can't control his kids' choices as adults, but let's not kid ourselves. Jaden and Willow signed their lives away early, and they didn't even get a say. But here's my take. What we saw from Jaden and Willow in their teens wasn't just youthful rebellion, it's part of Will's bargain. Hollywood kept his name glowing in the headlines, but the price was using his kids as pawns to push their agendas to their massive impressionable audiences. Look, when it comes to Will and Jada's marriage, it's been quite a spectacle the last 10 years or so. And in 2018, headlines broke that the couple went from considering themselves married to life partners, which many interpreted as them having some sort of open-ended relationship. Jada would start her Red Table Talk series that same year, a show that would end up making Will the butt of all jokes. But that wasn't for another 2 years later. By June 30th, 2020, singer August Alsina shared an interview to his YouTube channel with Breakfast Club co-host Angela Yee, where the beans were spilled about his secret relationship with none other than Jada Smith, going on to say,
I actually sat down with Will and had a conversation due to the transformation from their marriage to life partnership that they've spoken on several times, and it, not involving romanticism. He gave me his blessing.
I said, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
Of course, this got people talking, and as the rumors surfaced, Jada was quick to shut them down. However, less than 2 weeks later, Will would sit down with Jada on her Red Table Talk series, where the two brought the claims to the surface, and yeah, it didn't go well for either of them.
You and I decided we were going to take our space, and what happened? An entanglement?
Yes. Yes.
A relationship?
Yes, it was a relationship.
Will came out looking humiliated and hella defeated with a big old fake smile on his face, while Jada came off as a manipulative narcissist. At this point, whatever image of a happy family these two built up until that point was gone. The word that flooded the headlines after the episode aired was entanglement. Jada simply referred to her time with August as an entanglement. Notice the word entanglement and humiliation match in the reduction ciphers. Will was literally the meme of the summer. You couldn't scroll more than 40 seconds without seeing this image. It felt like after that awkward ass sit down those two had, Will kinda spiraled and has since been on a mission to stain his own legacy. Another year, another Oscars award show, but for Will Smith, this was far from an ordinary night. As I mentioned in the beginning, Will's entertained millions of people over the years with tons of great films, but he had yet to win an Oscar until that very day. However, just before he got his hand on the prize, his palm was on the face of host Chris Rock after he cracked a joke on Will's life partner, Jada.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
Oh, wow.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
I'm going to.
Less than an hour after that embarrassing ass moment of Will defending his cheating wife's honor, he was back on stage accepting his first ever Academy Award for Best Actor for his role in the film King Richard. He would go on to apologize to the audience and organizers, but not to Chris himself. That moment was yet again another massive stain despite the career milestone. It's almost like the industry said, yeah, we'll give you an award, but first let's make sure you totally humiliate yourself in front of millions. The Faustian Bargain sums it up perfectly. Faustian bargains are by their nature tragic or self-defeating for the person who makes them, because what is surrendered is ultimately far more valuable than what is obtained, whether or not the bargainer appreciates that fact. So sure, he got a long-awaited award, but only at the expense of his image. And while the slap would end up being labeled Slapgate or the slap heard around the world, thankfully for Will, the public is pretty quick to forget. But he didn't stop there when it came to tearing down his image. But real quick, looking at that moment by the numbers, March 27, 2022 was the 86th day of the year, and the phrase humiliation ritual equates to 86 in the most pure cipher. It was also the 27th day of the month, aligning with the word Slapgate and ritual in the same cipher. It's also worth mentioning that Will's 54th birthday was 182 days away from the event that he would of course be the major focus of for both the slap and winning his first Oscar. Now, why this was undeniably a humiliation ritual is because Will resigned from the Academy just 5 days later saying, quote, "My actions at the 94th Academy Awards presentation were shocking, painful, and inexcusable. The list of those I have hurt is long and includes Chris, his family, many of my dear friends and loved ones, all those in attendance, and global audiences at home." Then on April 8th, Will Smith was banned from attending any Academy events for 10 years as per the Academy president David Rubin and CEO Dawn Hudson. At this point, people were looking at Will pretty crazy, so he had to lay low and let the public get distracted by something else. As of 2025, I swear whenever I see Will Smith pop up onto my timeline, it ain't never for anything good. There's this clip that resurfaced of him getting a massage from first Jada, but then a man steps in while Jada's in the back, and I mean shit, just see the clip if you haven't already.
Only a man knows what a man needs.
I mean, the notion of Will being fruity came from the jump in his acting days as discussed earlier. But the way he's been moving over the past few years and getting basically Adam 22'd is really tainting his image as a respectable man in general. But then I'm just casually scrolling one day to see people reposting this image Will shared, and I'm like,
come on now, dawg. Come on, man.
At this point, bro was just inviting the roasting. Earlier this year, on March 31st, 2025, Will dropped his comeback album, but I gotta be honest, I didn't even know about it until making this video. However, I'm sure by now y'all have seen this clip of Will performing a new single titled Pretty Girls in London, and well, just like the crowd's reaction in person, man, online responses weren't any better.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Now, due to copyright, I can't run the clip, but I mean, most people are just thinking, Will, you're a film legend with an insane legacy. Why are you running around a married man talking about I like pretty girls? To be fair, Will's always made arguably corny tracks, but at his grown ass age, going on about pretty girls and tricking on them is nasty work. People are literally calling his London street performance another humiliation ritual. Now, personally, I think this term has been getting thrown around a lot in the last 3 years, and it's not being used in the right context many times. In this case, he's literally just being tone deaf at his age and embarrassing himself, while that slap on the Oscars, if it was even real, was a legitimate humiliation ritual on a grand stage, especially considered the events that transpired shortly after, with him being banned on the night he won his first ever Oscars award. I remember when humiliation ritual was just a fringe term used only by those that were considered conspiracy theorists. Now I see it being applied to streamers embarrassing themselves for views, and sure, those are humiliating moments, but they're far from a grand ritual. Anyway, I had to get that off my chest, but you guys tell me what y'all think about this whole Will Smith situation. Is the man having a midlife crisis? Is the industry letting him know his deals have expired? Or maybe a bit of both? Let me know what y'all think down below. As always, I really do appreciate everyone's support. It means a lot. Be sure to like the video, dislike if you feel, share the video, and most importantly, subscribe, man. It's been your boy Script, and I'm out of here. Peace.